Welcome to the BiXX Artist Spotlight. Exclusive to Vibes.live.
Trance Vibes with Vibes.live, coming to you from our studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. And as you might know by now, with the BiXX Artist Spotlight, we reach out to those producers, DJs, DJs, and more to bring you some of the most incredible content right here on your weekly dose of trance. This week in particular on the BiXX Artist Spotlight, we've reached out to somebody who started out a very, very long time ago. And of course, we're going to be chatting about that musical journey. And joining us on the phone is the one and only Darren Paul Jones. Joining us on the phone is, of course, the one and only Mercurial Virus. Hey, Darren, how are you doing this evening, mate?
I'm good, John. How are you?
I'm very, very well, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us on Trance Vibes. Now, Darren, I need to chat to you about how you got into music. I mean, this is usually how we start the interviews and so on. How did you get into music at first?
Well, funny enough, how it all started was by accident, really. My dad used to play Jean-Michel Jarre back in the day, as well as like Elvis and other things. But it was hearing Jean-Michel Jarre, I heard the melodies and the electronic sound that caught my eye. Well, my ear, I should say. And then I just listened to pop music now and then while I was playing football semi-professionally. But I got a job as a dental technician. Somebody told me about, do you listen to Judge Jules on the radio? And I had no idea what she was on about. I said, I'll have a listen. I said, I'd never heard of Judge Jules at the point.
Yeah.
But I listened to his show and he played the Morrigan Remember. He played Chicane Saltwater, the Goyella remix of Binary Finery 1999. I thought, wow, this is the stuff I like. I want to listen to more of this. And then as I got into it, I listened on the telly, an advert come up on the telly, Trance Nation 2, Ministry of Sound, and it was mixed by Ferry Corsten.
Yeah.
And they were playing ATB, and there was just quite a few songs on there. I was like, oh, I've got to buy that. I bought the album, and I listened to it from start to finish, 2 discs, and I was like, wow, I love this genre of music. And then when I read the booklet, it said it was called trance, and I was like, this is the stuff I want to make, or this is the stuff I want to like DJ as well. I thought, I want to get into this. And then I used to go to God's Kitchen after that, because like I found out this music was at clubs in Birmingham and stuff like that. So that's how the journey started. So from Jean-Michel Jarre into trance, after like a bit of pop music in between. So yeah, at the time when I was listening to the pop music, I did get into, Sash. Remember old Sash?
Oh yes, Ecuador and all those kind of tracks that were massive back in the day.
Yeah. So obviously hearing things like that, I was like, that electronic sound obviously, sparked something in me. And obviously when I heard Judge Jules, what he was playing, and then I found out Trance Nation 2, and then when I went into going to God's Kitchen, hearing it all, that was it. I was sold. Trance was the way.
I need to find out from you, did you get into DJing first, or did you start out producing straight off the word go? How did you get into the production side of things?
I listened to trance and I thought, I'd like to be a DJ. But then, at the same time, I was like, I want to produce some. I want to make my own stuff. I've got a lot of creativity in me, so I always like to create my own, whatever it is. When I was playing football, I wanted to create my own football boots and design my own football boots. And so when I went to music, I wanted to create my own as well as DJ. So it was at the same time, really. So I bought some belt drive cam decks from Hard to Find Records.
Yeah.
And then instantly he was looking, how can I produce music? So obviously from the Trance Nation albums, I looked at the artists on the back of there, like Ferry Corsten, Lange, Armin and all these. But I found Lange, his email address. I was on AOL at the time. So I contacted him, about making trance.
Yeah.
And he gave me some tips on what to do on certain things. But I looked up software and I found Fruity Loops to be the software that popped up all the time. I know, so I got on Fruity Loops and I started making tracks and I couldn't moan at that. It done well in the end. So that was the start.
What a journey. You started off listening to Jean-Michel Jarre, pop music and everything else into, well, I want to produce some of this kind of stuff and so on. And you've had quite a prolific career when you started out producing. Very quickly, you started gaining a name and everything, but it's only in the latter part of your career that you actually came up with the nomina of Mercurial Virus. Am I correct?
Yeah, obviously I got into trance and I wanted to produce it, and obviously my early productions wouldn't have been up to standard. But it's all about the melody for me. It's a hook for me, the melodies. So then, like, obviously trance is melodic, and that's why it resonates with me. And that's why the other genres that I've got into, like, I got into like the UK hard trance, like the tidy track stuff. I know it's hard house, some of it, but into UK hard trance. And then I got into the German hard trance, the Scott Project sound, the darker stuff, but it's still melodic. And then there was hardstyle that come along, which was melodic, even though it was heavier and like there was some nasty sounds, it was still melodic. And then like I'm also into film music, into chill out music, but they've all got melodies. So the core thing for me is melody. If it's got a melody, I'll be into it. But if it hasn't, then I'll just switch off.
It's like the other day when you and I were setting up to get the interview ready. I said to you, what about house music? And your words were, I just find it a little bit on the boring side.
Yeah, it is. It is to me. It's just like, it's background music where you're talking to people, concentrating with the person who you're talking to, and there's just music in the background because there's just no hook to it for me. It's just repetitive. It's just doesn't go anywhere. There's no emotion to it to me. Where trance, it's a journey. As soon as that snare roll building up for the drop, just into the intro, it's like, here we go, got some energy, and then it builds, and then you got into the breakdown, you got pads, and then it's got emotion. You might have a vocal in there, and the ethereal voices, and then you got plucks and synths start coming in, and it just takes you on a journey where, house does not do anything like that. And I think because I'm quite a spiritual person and like I meditate and I do things like that, I need that emotion. And obviously things that have happened to me, like with my dad, that's my way of expressing my emotions is through my music. So it's got to have feeling, because if there's no feeling in it, it doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Now, you have had a lot of collaborations where you've actually gone and done remixes. You've had some of the record labels and so on, the earlier record labels, especially on the hard side of things, that asked you to do reworks and all that kind of stuff. And then you got to a point where you actually got fed up with the music industry. You got tired of working, putting out some really, really good tracks and everything, not getting signed, the disappointment and everything. And then you went and got yourself a day job where you actually worked in a factory assembling motor cars, and in particular the engines and so on for BMW. That must have been a little bit of a difficult challenge for you, because, I mean, you've lived your passion in music, and then all of a sudden, you're busy assembling motor vehicles.
Yeah, because I just got disillusioned with the music scene, and particularly I was in the harder dance scene then, so like going to the hard style, and I just thought, I'm just sick of this. It's like nothing's going anywhere. I sent promos out, no one really listens much. So I just thought, got to pay the bills. My mate worked at BMW and he said, they're looking for people. I've got in there. And to be fair, I was straight in there. No, whatever I put my hands to, I'm really good at doing. So I did really well at it, and I was going quite far in it. But I just had the feeling, at not long working there, that I was not going to be in that job for the rest of my life or for a long period of time. I knew at some point I'll probably jump back into the music industry at some point, but I didn't know how. I just knew that I wouldn't be at BMW for long. And then unfortunately, my dad got diagnosed with terminal cancer, and then that changed everything for me then.
You were working hard and everything else. You had the responsibility, the social responsibility of looking after your dad. But it was your dad who actually looked at you and said, my son, I want you to follow your heart. I want you to follow your passion. And your dad's wish on his dying bed was for you to get back into music where your passion was and where your heart, your true heart and your soul was lying.
Yeah, that's true. he said to me, he said, when I'm gone, I want you to have the room, the main room, as a studio. You know, get a desk, you know, a big studio desk. Get a new Mac Pro, because at the time I had a Mac Pro which was from 2008. So this is like 2016. He's like, you know, it's another 8 years old Mac Pro, and he's saying get a new Mac Pro because a new one had been announced, and he was like, do music, you know, that's what you was good at, that's what you enjoyed. I want you to do it, and I was like, okay. I was taken back by it because I thought, wow, he wants me to do something I really love. So my mates was like, oh yeah, listen to this Darren Porter stuff. So I listened to Darren Porter, and the track that stood out for me is when I played his track Deep Blue on Future Sound of Egypt. So I was like that, a breakdown, the emotional breakdown in that track was just like, it hit me straight away. I was like, you know what, that's my calling. That's what I want to do. Trance with the breakdowns, orchestral, emotional, that feeling, and then that was it. Then I knew straight away when I heard that that's the direction I'm going. And then when my dad passed away, you know, it took a bit of time to get my head around things, and because I was caring for him, I was taking appointments, the whole works, and looking after him. But when I built the studio and then I got in there, it, you know, straight away I was back in there like duck to water, to be honest. I was just straight in there, and I was building tracks quick. I was like even taking, you know, doing all the arrangement, producing sounds and stuff. I just flew through it, and then within like, I think fifth trance release, I think it was my track Turning Point got signed to Subculture, which was like crazy. But I knew straight away as soon as I'd done like 32 bars, I just knew that this was got to be big. And the strangest thing is the name Turning Point. It was a turning point because like as soon as I'd done it, I knew it was going to be big. Billy Gillies did a remix, and then how it blew up, like with Armin playing Billy's mix, John was playing my mix, and then Armin did a bootleg. It was just like, wow. And even today, people still play it, and it's like, and obviously Billy's gone on to great things. He's got in the UK charts with DNA and stuff. So like people will look back at my track that he remixed and will play it because it's got Billy's name on.
It's an absolutely incredible journey, you know, when you talk about, in particular, the track Turning Point, you know, and the turning point, I think, was where your dad had to say to you, listen, I need you and I want you, and my wish is for you to go back to music, because he knew where your passion was. And I think the track Turning Point has a lot more connotation on how everything came together. And you say you believe in, you know, whatever is destined out there in the universe, that it came to a crossroads and you had to reach that crossroads through the help of your dad. And of course, you know, your own mental well-being and that kind of stuff as well. I mean, the journey since then, and now we're going back to around about 2016, has included some incredible collaborations. You've worked with, you know, Hemstock. You've done a lot of your own releases. You've done some remixes for the likes of Conductor and Cowboy. I mean, you've been quite busy in terms of production.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how they all come about. I mean, I've loved working with Les, because Les is amazing. Because obviously Hemstock and Jennings back in the day, even and Conductor and the Cowboy, you know, they were artists I listened to when I was into trance, when I just got into trance, and then I heard Mirage on the Gatecrasher CD. I heard Feeling This Way, that was, you know, Judge Jules used to blast out, and I had that on vinyl, and it's crazy that all these old artists in trance at the time, in the, you know, back in the day, I'm now like doing work with them, remixing for them, doing collaborations with them, and becoming good friends with them, and then making new friends with artists who were upcoming in them days and now like the mainstays in the industry. It's like, you know, like John O'Callaghan, making friends with him, and Sean Tyas, people like that. It's just really crazy how it's gone. I pinch myself sometimes to think like, wow, I'm working with like these, and not even Darren Porter. I mean, like when I heard Darren Porter's tracks, Deep Blue, was my inspiration that got me back into trance, and obviously my dad to get back into music. It's like all the building blocks fell into place.
As I say, as long as you're enjoying the journey, mate, tell me about the track Cherubim, the one that you did with Hemstock. I mean, it is a beautiful track, and in particular during the month of March, they came up as one of my favorite tracks of the month of March that was released, and I absolutely love the tune.
Thank you. Yeah, well, what it was, me and Les had some MIDI parts of an old track, and he sent them to me, and I tweaked the MIDIs, and I thought, oh, that's nice. I like the melody with this, because it's an old style trance melody, but I updated it with added some extra notes and moved it around to make it more up to date. But then obviously I created a lot more sounds, and we built the arrangement together, and we was going to do not a progressive track, but a more slower progressive trance track. But as we went along, no one was really interested in it when we sent it out originally. But then we got it back, and like, right, let's change this. Let's like pump it up a bit more energy, like the tempo, because this has got something, and that old, like that voice in the track, like the Age of Love type of voice.
Yeah.
It worked, and we was like, yeah, this is a nice track. This is, and it's like we sent it to Fables originally, and they wanted it, but they wanted a couple of changes, and again, it was just like dragging on, and we was like, we'll just send it out to other labels, and then obviously because I let Les do all that because he's good at all the communication, and he's good with the contracts, and he was like, yeah, let's do it, and so it got released on Synchronized next, and it is a really nice track, to be fair, because it is like a combination of old trance with new trance. It's not like in your face. It's not like, do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of trance like pumping, and then the melody's like, whoa, it's just too much. But this is quite easy listening, the melody.
Yeah, and what I love about it in particular is the fact that it's not overproduced. You know, it gives you that old nostalgic melodic breakdown and so on. And now, I mean, let's move on to your recent release on Reason to Rise Records. That was, of course, Galaxy, and you've got a couple of other releases coming up in the near future as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So Galaxy was out the other week. Galaxy come out on my dad's birthday, the 29th of March, which was crazy. And then I've got a track coming out on the 2nd of May, Reason to Rise. That's Mia, which is a past girlfriend. And
a past girlfriend. I love that, a past girlfriend.
Yeah, she's the past now. And then the end of May, I've got another release on Reason to Rise. And they're all very different. Every one of them is very different. Like Galaxy, it's got energy, but it's got the nice plucks, and it's got a great melody. Then you've got Mia, which is obviously, because it was from a girlfriend at the time, it's driving, but it's got the nice uplifting emotional breakdown, and there's even a part in there that actually mentions a name, which she didn't even know at the time. I was like, well, mentions his name, does it? Yeah, didn't you listen? I was like, she goes, yeah, I did. I was like, yeah, listen, this part. And then Orion, which is, it sort of goes back to the old school trance, but with a bit of an updated feel. So it's all got different styles, each track. I always start with the blank page and go with my emotions, because then I know what I'm getting is pure.
Yeah, true.
Because that's what I want. I want it to be, that's the whole point of making music for me. It's got to be pure emotions and where it's come from. I've got some other tracks to come, but I don't know any release dates yet for some of them. That's Shout. Original name is Sagittaire, which was Hemstock and Jennings. Sagittaire Shout, but it's going to be changed to Hemstock and Jennings Shout now, Mercurial Virus remix. And I've also got a chill out version of my own track, Turning Point, which will be out on Subculture at some point this year. So plenty of tracks to come, and I've got some underway for new projects. And I've also been talking with a lot of vocalists who want to do stuff with me. I've got Ren Fay that wants to do some vocal tracks. and also another artist, Francesca Fay as well, who wants to do some vocal tracks. So there's loads of projects to come.
I need to ask you a question here, okay? In terms of the name Mercurial Virus, where does the name Mercurial Virus come from?
Obviously, when I was just got into the music, I was playing semi-professionally as a footballer. So I was wearing Night Mercurial vapor boots that were black with silver lines on them and stuff. So the Mercurial came from that originally, but when I actually looked up the meaning, which was not long after I called myself Mercurial Virus, I thought Mercurial was quite mysterious. It was like people don't know what you're going to get with being Mercurial.
Yeah.
So it's like you can be hot or cold, or it could be it's very mysterious. They just don't understand you sometimes. So I think it sort of follows my personality sometimes. So that's where the Mercurial come from. And the virus, I took the virus name because I thought I want to spread the music to everyone. So what better way in a virus?
I love that, combining the two, Mercurial, which is the mysteriousness, and then of course the virus, because you want to spread your music like a virus all around the globe. But now, while we are spreading your music and while we are talking to you, this is why we do the BiXX Artist Spotlight, is so that up-and-coming producers and, people that are trying to dip their fingers and their toes into this big world of music and music production, so that we can give them some encouragement and so on. And if there's somebody listening right now to this interview, what words of encouragement could you give them, Darren?
I would say always go with the passion of the music you like. Go with it, because so many people like different genres, and then they think, I want to get noticed. I want to get noticed into music. What's the most current thing, or what's the easiest way? I'll look up templates, or I'll find some. A lot of people look to try and emulate somebody else, or they try to get into a genre because there's a quick way into it. Don't go that way. The best way to do it is go with your passion and what music you love. Because if you love a certain style of music and you love it that much, you'll understand how it, the breakdown, how it works, how the structure of the music, and then that's the dream. That's the way you follow. You go with the genre you like, because that's what I done. I mean, originally I loved trance. When I looked from Jean-Michel Jarre, the electronic music influences, I then eventually got into trance as my first, when I listened to Jules. Even though I went into the hard stuff, into hard trance and hardstyle, I've still come back to trance. So if I just stuck with trance, even people said to me, if you stuck with trance from the start, you'd probably you'd be flying now up the top with all the other big artists. But I was like, yeah, but it is what it is. So I like all genres. So my advice to people: stick to the genre that you love. Don't chase genres that are the new upcoming genre. Just stick with what you love.
I absolutely love that. Stick with where your passion is. Stick with where your passion is.
Definitely. That's my advice.
Darren, a.k.a. Mercurial Virus, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on Vibes Alive and, of course, Trance Vibes. We're going to be getting into a set that you've put together exclusively for Trance Vibes tonight. We wish you all of the best in the near future. And, of course, please keep us posted with upcoming releases and, of course, events, so we can let everybody know where to catch you live in action.
Will do, mate. Thank you very much.